Hello and welcome back to the Atomic Habits audio series, based on the powerful book by James Clear. I'm Masouda Mohammadi, and I'm so happy you're here with me again. In our last session, we talked about how habits are formed, and talked about the four-part loop: cue, craving, response, and reward. Now it's time to dive into the first law of behavior change, which is make it obvious. This session will help you understand how your environment shapes your behavior, and how small changes in visibility and clarity can make a big impact on building good habits. So let's get started. Habits always start with a cue, a trigger that tells your brain to begin a behavior. The truth is, many of our cues are invisible because they've been there for so long. You walk into a room and suddenly want a snack. Hear a notification and immediately check your phone. James Clear says, you don't need more discipline, you need better environment design. That means if you want to build a new habit, you must make the cue for that habit obvious and visible in your daily life. Means make the invisible visible. James shares a simple but powerful tool, as we said in previous session, called the Habit Scorecard. Here's how it works. Write down all your daily habits in order, from waking up to going to bed. Next to each habit, mark it as a positive, negative, or neutral. Just observe. This brings awareness to your current behavior. For example, wake up, check phone, brush teeth, drink water, skip breakfast. Once you become aware of your patterns, you'll be able to change them. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful tools for building a new habit. It's called an implementation intention. This is a simple sentence structure that helps you clearly define what you will do, when you will do it, and where you will do it. It's not enough to say, I want to exercise more, or I'll try to read every day. That's too vague. When you don't have a clear plan, your brain doesn't know when to take action, and the habit just fades away. But when you write down your habit using this formula, you remove the guesswork. You're telling your brain exactly what to expect and when to act. You make the habit obvious, which is the first law of behavior change. This simple structure can be the difference between a habit that stays a dream and one that becomes part of your daily life. For example, I will read one page at 9 p.m. in my bedroom. I will walk for 10 minutes after lunch at the park. When you set clear plans, your brain knows exactly what to do and when. No guessing, no forgetting. Another powerful method for building a new habit is called habit stacking. This technique is based on the idea that your current habits are already well established in your brain. You don't have to start from zero. Instead, you can use what you're already doing as a foundation for something new. Habit stacking means that you attach a new habit directly to something you already do regularly. It becomes part of a routine that's already familiar, making the new behavior easier to remember and perform. To use habit stacking, you simply choose a current habit, something you do every day without fail, and then decide on a new habit you want to add. The key is to link them together in a very specific way. This creates a smooth transition from one action to the next. Over time, your brain begins to see the two habits as connected, which strengthens the new one and helps it become automatic. Habit stacking works because you're building on an existing pattern, something that's already wired into your daily life. It makes the process of forming new habits simpler more natural, and much more sustainable. For example, after I brush my teeth, I will write one sentence in my journal. After I make tea, I will stretch for 2 minutes. After I come home from work, I will meditate for 1 minute. Habit stacking works because you're building on an existing pattern, something that's already wired into your daily life. It makes the process of forming new habits simpler, more natural, and much more sustainable. Now that you know how to connect new habits to old ones using habit stacking, let's take it one step further. Another powerful way to make your habits more obvious is by designing your environment. Your surroundings influence your behavior more than you realize. If your guitar is hidden in a closet, you'll forget to play it. If cookies are on the table, you'll eat them, even when you're not hungry. If your phone is next to your bed, you'll scroll endlessly. James Clear's advice: make the cues of good habits obvious and visible. Want to read more? Keep a book on your pillow or coffee table. Want to drink more water? Place a bottle on your desk. Want to eat healthy? Put fruits in a visible bowl in the kitchen. Designing your space around your goals makes habits almost automatic. All right, let's take a moment to recap what we've covered in this session. We started by learning about the cues trigger habits. The more obvious the cue, the more likely the habit will follow. Recognizing your cues is the foundation of habit change. Next, we talked about a habit scorecard. The Habit Scorecard is a simple tool where you list your daily habits and mark them as positive, negative, or neutral. It shines a light on your routines so you can clearly see what's helping or hurting your growth. After that, we learned about implementation intentions, how clearly defining your behavior, time, and place helps make your habit obvious and easier to follow through. Then, we explored habit stacking, a smart way to attach a new habit to something you're already doing. This builds a strong connection and creates a natural routine. And finally, we touched on the importance of designing your environment, shaping your surroundings to support your desired habits and reduce friction. These are all part of the first law of behavior change: make it obvious. When you remove guesswork and set up your life to highlight the right cues, your habits become clearer, easier, and stronger. Remember, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And visibility is part of that system. Now I invite you to try this. Pick one habit you want to start and write your implementation intention. Then decide where you can place a visual cue in your environment. Your habits are not only shaped by your motivation, but by what you see every day. So make the good habits obvious and the bad ones invisible. If you found this session helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for the next session, and share it with someone you care about. In our next session, we'll explore the second law: make it attractive. We'll talk about how to create habits you actually enjoy. Until then, stay mindful, stay kind, and remember, small changes made consistently create big results. See you in the next session.